My mother-in-law's country house always reminded me of a set from some movie about successful American life. Perfectly trimmed lawn, designer furniture, heated pool. Audrey, my mother-in-law, perfectly matched this picture. Successful realtor, country club member, wellness enthusiast. "Bill, thanks for coming." She met me at the entrance in her signature Ralph Lauren tracksuit. "There are some heating problems with the pool. You know about this stuff, right?" "Yes, a little," I nodded, trying not to notice how the fitted fabric accentuated her figure. For her 55 years, Audrey looked stunning. Regular workouts and spa treatments did their job. "Come on, I'll show you. By the way, how's Jenny?" she asked about my wife, her daughter. "On a business trip to Boston. Returns in a week." "Ah, yes," she mentioned. "These constant trips of hers. I was a workaholic at her age, too." We walked through the house to the pool. On the way, I noticed a new addition. "What's this?" "Oh, this is my new passion." Audrey's eyes lit up. "A real Finnish sauna. Brought the idea from my last trip to Scandinavia." She opened the door, and the scent of cedar and eucalyptus wafted out. A spacious room with wooden benches, traditional stone stove. "Impressive," I said honestly. "Wait, you don't know the best part. I practice real Scandinavian traditions. Contrast therapy, sauna, then pool, sauna again. Sounds extreme." "Oh, it's an amazing sensation," Audrey gestured animatedly. "First, the heat penetrates to your bones, then ice-cold water. All senses heighten. Every cell in your body comes alive." I caught myself staring too intently at her neck, covered with a light sheen of sweat. "So what's wrong with the heating?" I quickly changed the subject. "Yes, of course. Something's acting up here." She bent over the control panel, and I involuntarily lingered on her figure. I spent the next hour tinkering with the system settings. Audrey sat nearby, handing tools, asking questions. She smelled of some floral perfume. "Done?" I finally said, wiping my hands. "Just temperature settings got mixed up." "Perfect. Just in time to try it out." She smiled mysteriously. "You're not in a hurry, are you?" "Actually, Bill, you must try a real Scandinavian sauna. I was just about to start my evening session. Come on, it'll be our little secret." "Audrey, I'm not sure." "Don't be silly. Do you have swim shorts in your car?" "No?" "No problem. I have my ex-husband's swim trunks." I wanted to refuse, but something in her voice, in her gaze, made me agree. "Okay, but not for long." "Wonderful," she beamed. "Go change. And remember, this isn't just a sauna. It's an ancient tradition of cleansing body and spirit." Changing in the locker room, I thought I might be making a mistake. But there was something captivating about this situation, about this new, unfamiliar Audrey. When I came out of the changing room, Audrey was already in the sauna. Through the glass door, I could see her silhouette wrapped in a white towel. "Come in," she waved. "I was just about to pour water on the stones." It was about 90 degrees in the sauna. I sat on the lower bench, trying to maintain distance. "Oh, no," Audrey shook her head. "Real heat is only at the top. Come up here." I awkwardly moved to the upper bench. The towel on Audrey slipped slightly, exposing her shoulder. "In Finland, I tried a real sauna for the first time." She poured aromatic water on the stones. "It was a revelation. You know, they can steam for hours there." Hot steam enveloped us in a thick cloud. The first drops of sweat ran down my back. "And in Sweden," Audrey continued, "I learned the technique of contrast bathing. First sauna, then an ice lake." "Lake?" I choked on air. "Yes. They cut holes in the ice in winter, can you imagine? The pool isn't as extreme, but the effect is similar." She poured more water on the stones. The heat intensified. "Have you ever thought about visiting Scandinavia?" Audrey turned to me. In the sauna's dim light, her eyes sparkled in a special way. "Never had the chance." I tried to focus on the conversation, not on the sweat drops trickling down her neck. "Jenny said you like to travel." "Before, yes, now it's mostly work." "I know the feeling," she sighed. "I was the same. Work, home, obligations." Then I realized life was passing by. Divorced George, started traveling. "Jenny still struggles with your divorce." "I know," Audrey smiled sadly. But sometimes you need to think about yourself. By the way, time to dive. What, right now? Of course. The most important thing, don't think, just do. She stood up, holding her towel. In the dim light, her figure seemed almost unreal. Come on, we jump in the pool on 3. Wait, maybe 1. She was already at the pool's edge. Audrey. 2. I stood beside her, feeling like a complete idiot. 3. She dropped her towel, remaining in a one-piece swimsuit, and jumped. I mechanically followed her. The ice-cold water burned my skin. For a second I lost orientation, then surfaced, gasping for air. Amazing, isn't it? Audrey laughed, sputtering. And indeed, it was amazing. Every nerve, every muscle tingled from the temperature contrast. I felt an unprecedented surge of energy. Now quickly back to the sauna, she commanded. We climbed out of the pool. I tried not to watch how water ran down her body, how the wet swimsuit clung to her skin. You know, Audrey said when we returned to the sauna, there's a belief in Norway. They say true feelings emerge in the sauna. Heat and cold strip away all masks. She looked at me in a way that took my breath away. And it wasn't just because of the hot air. Ready for round 2? She asked, reaching for the water ladle. I nodded, understanding that this night could change everything. And somehow that thought no longer scared me. The second round proved even more intense than the first. Audrey threw some herbs on the stones that made my head spin. It's eucalyptus and juniper, she explained. Helps relax, let go of all worries. It's working, I admitted. Reality was beginning to feel hazy, like in a half-dream. In Sweden, I lived in a small town by a lake. Audrey spoke quietly, almost whispering. They had a tradition, gathering in the communal sauna in the evenings. You know what I thought, looking at those people? What? About how we're trapped in our social roles. Husband, wife, mother-in-law, son-in-law. But there, all that loses meaning. Only real emotions remain. Real feelings. She moved closer. I could smell her perfume mixed with the scent of herbs. Bill, are you happy with Jenny? The question caught me off guard. Why do you ask? Because I see how you've been living these past years. Like a robot. Work, home, rare dinners with a wife who's always traveling. Audrey, no, listen, she touched my shoulder. I lived such a life with George. 20 years of pretense until I realized this isn't living. Time to dive. I stood up abruptly. We needed to stop this conversation. Wait, she held my hand. Are you afraid of what you're feeling? I'm not feeling anything, I lied. Really? She stood next to me, close, too close. Then why is your heart beating so fast? It's from the heat. No, Bill, it's from life. Real life, breaking through all prohibitions and conventions. We stood by the pool. Steam rose from the water, creating bizarre patterns. Count of 3? She whispered. Count of 3. But instead of counting, she suddenly moved closer and lightly kissed my cheek. To real feelings, she whispered and jumped into the water. I dove after her. The cold burned my body, but I barely noticed. My head was filled only with her kiss, her scent, her words. We surfaced simultaneously. You know, Audrey said, looking into my eyes, in Norway they say, temperature contrast sharpens not only the body but also the soul. Makes you feel what you hide from yourself. And what am I hiding? Instead of answering, she swam closer. Her hand slid across my chest. The same thing I am, she whispered. The desire to live, to feel, to love. Audrey, we shouldn't. Shh. She put her finger to my lips. Don't think, just feel. We stood in the water, looking into each other's eyes. Time stopped. There was only us, moonlight, and the quiet splash of water. Come, she finally said. Last round in the sauna, the most important one, and I followed her, knowing there was no way back. The sauna was dark, only moonlight filtered through the small window near the ceiling. Audrey poured more water on the stones, but now with different herbs. The air filled with an intoxicating aroma. It's a special Scandinavian blend. Her voice sounded muffled. For special occasions, she sat next to me so close I could feel her body's warmth. Water drops still ran down her skin, turning to steam. "You know what I've been thinking about all these years?" Audrey spoke quietly, almost whispering. "About how strangely life is arranged. We all play some roles, hide behind masks." Her hand touched my shoulder. The touch burned more than the hot steam. "Mother-in-law, son-in-law." She laughed bitterly. "What silly labels! And beneath them, living people, real feelings." "Audrey!" "No, listen," she turned to me. "I saw your glances. Stolen when you thought no one noticed. Saw how you changed around me, how your breathing changed." I remained silent. What could I say? She was right. All these years I'd carefully pushed away thoughts of her, convinced myself it was just imagination. "And she moved even closer. "I noticed you too. Your hands, your smile, your gaze. Do you know how hard it was to pretend indifference?" Moonlight played on her skin, turning water drops to silver. In the half-light, her eyes seemed almost black. "We shouldn't," I whispered, but my hands were already sliding over her shoulders. Shouldn't." She pressed closer. "Is there anything in life besides this moment here and now?" The first kiss was careful, almost chaste. The second, hungry, demanding. The sauna's heat and passion clouded our minds. "Wait," she breathed. "One more time in the water. For contrast." We ran to the pool. Moonlight silvered the water. Audrey slipped into my arms. "Together?" she whispered. "Together." We fell into the water without breaking our embrace. The cold burned our skin, but we barely noticed. There were only our touches, our kisses, our breathing. Then there was the sauna again. Heat and cold, passion and tenderness merged into one. Reality dissolved in a stream of sensations. Time stopped. We forgot everything. Social roles, prohibitions, consequences. There were only us two, moonlight, and the intoxicating aroma of Scandinavian herbs. Audrey was right. The temperature contrast heightened every touch, every breath, every kiss. It was like some ancient ritual where elements intertwined. Fire and water, heat and cold. Later, when we lay on loungers by the pool, wrapped in towels, she said, "You know what's the meaning of this Scandinavian tradition?"
What?
Purification. Through contrasts, through overcoming, through accepting your true desires. I remained silent, looking at the stars. My head was pleasantly foggy. My body felt weightless. "What now?" I finally asked. "Does something have to happen?" She turned to me. "Maybe we just accept this moment as a gift? As a reminder that we're alive?" The first strip of light appeared in the pre-dawn sky. Soon a new day would begin, and we'd have to return to our roles, to our masks. But now there was only this: us, stars overhead, and the quiet splash of water in the pool. I returned home at dawn. The scent of eucalyptus still lingered in my head. My skin remembered the temperature contrasts. A hot shower didn't help. I could still feel Audrey's touches. My phone was exploding with Jenny's calls. Finally, I answered. "Yes, honey?" "Bill, where have you been? I've been trying to reach you all night." "Sorry, I was busy, with your mom's pool." My tongue stumbled over the double meaning of that phrase. "All night?" Suspicious notes appeared in Jenny's voice. "There was a serious problem with the heating system. Had to work on it. And you couldn't answer your phone?" "Left it in the car. Didn't want it to get wet." The lies came easier and easier. That was frightening. "Okay," Jenny sighed. "How's Mom?" "She's been acting strange lately." "Strange?" I felt my mouth go dry. "Yes, more alive somehow. After the divorce from Dad, she seems younger, especially after that trip to Scandinavia." "Maybe the changes did her good." I tried to speak evenly. "Maybe. Listen, I'm coming back tomorrow, not next week. Boss shortened the trip." My heart jumped. "Tomorrow?" "Yes, isn't it great? I've missed you so much." "Of course great." After the conversation, I sat in the chair for a long time, staring at one point. Tomorrow Jenny would return. We would have dinner together, talk about her trip, plan the weekend, and in a couple of days, we'd go to Audrey's for the traditional family dinner. We'd sit at the same table, smile, exchange pleasantries. The phone vibrated. Message from Audrey. Can't stop thinking about last night, about the contrasts of temperatures and feelings. I started typing a reply, deleted it, started again. What could one say? Me neither, I finally wrote. Jenny's coming back tomorrow? Yes, I understand. Pretend nothing happened? I stared at the screen, not knowing how to respond. Pretend? Forget? Is that possible? Probably for the best, I wrote. Probably. But you know what, Bill? I'll never forget that moment in the pool when the moon reflected in your eyes. I closed my eyes. Memories flooded back, her touches, her whispers, the herb scent in the sauna. I need to think, I wrote. Of course. Just don't think too long. Sometimes it's better to just feel. I went out to the balcony. The morning air was fresh and clean. Somewhere in the distance, dawn was breaking. What had I done? How could I look Jenny in the eyes now? How could I sit at the same table with Audrey, pretending nothing happened? The phone vibrated again. P.S. The sauna will be waiting for you every Thursday. So will I. I should have deleted this message. Should have blocked the number. Should have done everything to forget this night. Instead, I wrote, until Thursday. And somehow, for the first time in a long while, I felt truly alive. The week passed like in a fog. Jenny returned. We went to restaurants, watched movies, made love. All as usual. Only I was somewhere far away. In the sauna, by the pool, under moonlight. On Thursday I said I'd be working late. Jenny didn't even seem surprised. She was used to my late returns. Driving up to Audrey's house, I noticed another car in the driveway. A red Lexus. What the hell? I muttered, parking around the corner. The front door was ajar. Voices came from inside, male and female. I recognized Audrey's laugh. Something inside me broke. Of course, I wasn't the only man in her life. What made me think that night meant anything? I was about to leave when the door opened and a tall gray-haired man appeared. See you at the club, dear, he waved. And thanks for the documents. A realtor. Just a realtor. Bill? Audrey noticed me. You're early. I can leave. Don't be silly. She pulled me inside. Just signing papers to sell the house. Sell? Yes, I'm moving. That was a gut punch. Where? To Sweden. I stared at her, not believing my ears. You see? She ran her hand across my cheek. That night, it opened my eyes. I realized I can't live my old life anymore. And you're just leaving? What do you suggest? Continue meeting in secret? Destroy Jenny's life? She was right, damn right. When? In a month. We'll have time to say goodbye. She smiled mischievously. The sauna's already heated. But instead of following her, I stood still. You know, I said, looking into her eyes, I can't live my old life anymore either. What do you mean? I filed for divorce yesterday. Now it was her turn to be surprised. But why? Because you were right. About masks, roles, real feelings. I don't want to pretend anymore. Bill, I can't ask you to... Then don't. I pulled her close. Just tell me, are there good saunas in Sweden? She laughed. The best in the world. And room for one more person? Always. We stood embracing in her house's hall. Outside, rain was starting. Jenny will hate us, Audrey whispered. Maybe, but one day she'll understand. Understand what? That sometimes you just need to follow your heart. Like you did after your divorce. Like I'm doing now. Audrey looked at me for a long moment. The sauna's waiting, she finally said. Last time in this house. Last time pretending. Last time hiding. We went upstairs. In a month, everything would change. New country, new life, new possibilities. But now there were only us, hot steam, cold water, and a feeling of absolute freedom. Contrast of temperatures. Contrast of feelings. Contrast between past and future. And somewhere in this contrast, our new reality was being born. Did you like this story? Let us know in the comments what you liked. Subscribe to our storytelling podcast. Also, don't forget to like and ring the bell so you don't miss more interesting stories. See you soon.